And this is a special episode today. We are reaching 100.
Big milestone.
Yeah, that's right. So today we're gonna do it light. We just gonna do like the four seasonal show because we're gonna rope BN8 and we're gonna replace that with uh
Hamefura.
my next yeah or my next slide as a villainess or rosely to them. I want to say the whole English title there. Also known as the Otomo Isekai. We're gonna do at episode 7. So we're gonna do episode 1 to 7 of that show and episode 7 of Yesterday no Utate. Also 7 of Kakushigoto and 6 of Kaguya-sama second season.
Yeah, buddy. I don't know if does
Alright.
this really qualify as doing it light? Like we watched more Hamefura, for this episode than we did the whole Ocean Waves film.
Yeah, actually you are right. But we're gonna just cover like 4 shows this week instead of like 5 shows like normals. So that's what I mean by light.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Uh, you want us to go to that show, the Hamefura, or you want to save it for the last?
We can just save that for last. It's like the main event, you know.
All right, cool. So I think let's start with yesterday no Wotate,
Okay.
episode 7.
This one was a little disappointing to me.
Oh really? I still think it's pretty good.
I mean, yeah,
I'll
I
tell you
mean, I
why.
think the show's pretty good, but the whole I really like the show when it's introducing a new character and bringing them to
Yeah,
life, and this one was all
mm,
about existing
the main
relationships.
characters.
Yeah, it was mostly
Yeah.
about like a love triangle, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, I'm not that into it.
All right. For
I
me
want
though,
the I want
I
the redheaded girl from last week to just take over the
yeah,
show.
or even the guy before that, he was cool.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
I do think though that like the first 6 episodes was more like the introduction. So they introduce and establish like all the main characters and supporting character as well. And I think this is like the time where they actually like go to the second phase, so like they gonna develop the existing relationship. So we got like the main 3 of the main 4 actually back in focus this time.
Yeah, I mean Haru just shows up a couple times.
Yeah,
We see
and that
her eating at a restaurant with Rikuo, I think
Rico.
twice. Once at the very beginning, and then I think it's at the same place both times. If I'm remembering correctly, it's like an
Yeah, yeah,
Okonomiyaki. Is that
yeah.
how you say it?
I understand what you mean. Yes. Yeah, I think they are eating in the same place at the
So
same
that
place.
that means that their friendship, I guess, is kind of settled into a routine where they go out to eat regularly,
Mm-hmm.
and they have like a favorite spot, which is, you know,
Yep.
that's kind of nice for her, I guess, is that she's able to see the guy that she likes on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
but
But
despite being firmly friend zoned.
yep, I'm waiting for the second verbs here. Is there any but?
What do you mean? Oh, that's no,
Oh,
that's just for Haru. For Haru, that's her
all right. Yep.
situation, but she doesn't appear that much in the episode apart from that. It's mostly about the other three.
Yep. I actually like the chemistry that they have right now. So we see the improvement, especially how Rico react. No, not react. How Rico treat Haru's. So they are more like friendship now, and I think that's a good side. That's like a positive side that they spend a time together, and now they step forward to like more in the friend zone than before.
I mean, it's not good for her.
It's not good for her. No.
Yeah, so that's bad. I would say that this is bad. It's when I said it's kind of
Yeah.
nice that she's
Yeah.
able to
True.
see him on a regular basis. I mean, it's good that she's not cut out of his life or anything, but
It's like small victories, but you lose the whole battle.
yeah, I guess. And that's that. You know, if you're Haru, that feels bad, man. But at least she's still, she's
Yeah.
not like being written out of the show or anything.
Hmm. And then we have this episode will focus more about Shinako and Ro relationship, and Ro is like really pushing his his feeling, his emotion to Shinako,
Yeah,
in
and
which
it doesn't work
she
out.
find that very, yeah, in which she find that uncomfortable, but at the same time I think it shake her, because he always regards Ro as like a little brother, and that's the thing that really hate.
Yeah, I
um
don't. It. I. You said that she felt. Did you say that she felt kind of uncomfortable? Is
yeah,
that what
yeah,
you said?
see,
I
yeah,
felt
yeah,
kind of uncomfortable.
the way he does that, the way he keep pushing forward,
Yeah,
on
like,
the whole situation, the whole thing.
well, not necessarily the whole situation.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a story to be told there that isn't, like doomed from the start.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't know, but just him being like, I don't know, man. There's like three different points in this episode at which he's trying to communicate to her that he likes her, and you know, she was into his dead brother. That's just a weird situation. Um,
Yep, he knows that.
and especially the
um
first conversation they have where it's kind of like an outburst on his part.
right. Yep. Hmm.
That's that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I can understand why he does that though. Like he at the stage where he want to prove himself, to prove to be something. So he always try too hard, especially when it comes to Shinako, like getting her acknowledge him as like a person, like another person, rather than, some dead brothers, some dead crush, little brothers.
Yeah. What was the order of the conversations between them? Was the first one
Mm-hmm.
at school?
Wait, yeah, that was the one. Yes.
She's working on her computer and he comes in.
Yep.
That was the first one. Okay, so the
And
second one
then
then was at his apartment after she is like cooking dinner.
after she seeing his arms, and that reminded of the dead brothers. So she walks out, she cries, and
Right.
he hug her from behind.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the third one.
Oh, that's
Uh,
the third one.
yeah, because the second one is the one where she is making dinner at his apartment.
All
Um,
right. Did they talk?
yeah, they did talk, and
Yes.
he was like, "Please watch me. Please watch the person who I'm going to become." And she's
All
like,
right.
"I'm always watching you." And then she puts down the bowl of food and says something about like fried eggplant. There's fried eggplant too. And then the cut to the
Yeah.
very
All
next
right.
scene with him at art class and his two girlfriends are there. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
she was just
Yep.
being polite. What else was she supposed to say? That I actually really
Mm-hmm.
loved. Like the fact that immediately after that somewhat tender scene between the two of them, it just cuts to like two of his friends being like, "No, man,
Yep.
that was not an all clear sign."
Yep. She kindly rejected you.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought I
yeah.
thought that was pretty funny, and I wish it had left
I
it there, and then like in the next episode, maybe you do the thing where
yeah.
he hugs her from behind, but it
Right.
really was like Ro and Shinako's episode, like you said.
Yep. But then Shinako, she was afterwards she was looking forward to looking for Riku. So she, I think like she in the state of confusion right now. So she wants someone to comfort something or something. So she come to meet Riku. and she say the really weird thing actually. She say that she want sometimes she wish that Rico have the pushiness of Ro.
Yeah. Well, we in
I
the
don't.
last episode, I think we saw that she was interested in him.
Yep, yep,
You know, she's going over to he's sick, and she's going over to his apartment, and when she sees the girl there,
yep.
you know, she's like disappointed by that.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
she's not going to make a huge deal out of it like Haru might, because she's a little more grown up, and her personality's more reserved. But she is like shocked that there's a woman there,
Yep.
and disappointed. So it's yeah, she is becoming, you know, more open to the idea of having a relationship with him, I guess, or just being close to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because she's grieving still over you, um, she feels as though she needs to be pulled into, like, out of that
Yep,
phase, or like into a new relationship.
yep. But it actually kind of strange of her to claim Rico for doing what she asked him to do.
Yeah.
I
I,
yeah
I don't know if
mean
I
that
would use the word blame, but I see what you're saying.
yeah I think that pretty much say like the flaw of her personality is it's like she doesn't really know what she wants
Yeah, for sure.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, this thing that she maybe like she's attempting to initiate with Rikuo may
Hmm.
be something that she doesn't really want. Like, she may not know
Right. Yep.
still what, like,
Hmm.
she's kind of lost because of what happened in her past, like 6 years ago, however long it was ago when you died. Um,
Yep.
she still does not know
Yep.
what she
I
wants, or what she's supposed to be doing.
So what I reckon is like in the next development will be uh Rico and Shinako getting together, and then Shinako find out that she doesn't really love Rico. That's what I think.
That makes sense to me. I mean, he's about to
Yeah.
go up to her apartment. Well, we don't actually know that. You know, it's a cliffhanger. He might be like a typical anime boy and be
Uh,
like, but no, no, I
well,
can't go up there. That would be impure.
I think like 80% sure that he gonna come up to her apartment. It's not
Um,
that big of a deal actually. See, he was there before when she got sick.
yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I just hope he doesn't like chicken out, because that'd be pretty
Yeah, that
lame.
would be. Yeah, yeah. I would say that as well.
Like, she's
Um.
inviting you up, dude. just just say
Yep.
yes. Be like it at that point. It's even just a matter of being polite. Like, just say yes, okay, and go up where she's invited you.
Yeah. Just having a tea or something, like listen to what she have to say.
Yeah. Well, maybe she'll like get drunk and talk about her problems, and then fall asleep.
I well, I wish she could do that. I wish that she could let out of her feeling inside. So it's good that she can do that. I doubt
Yeah.
that doubt.
Well, I mean, speaking of letting out her feelings, I don't like. I think I would prefer it if there were like something else going on with her character apart from her grief. You know,
Yeah.
like,
True.
I
Mm,
wish that we
I can
knew
see.
her better, and I think that's an issue that we have with a lot of these characters. Actually, I was thinking about it, and like, what do we
Mm,
really know about Shinako and Rikuo apart from like their romantic pasts? Haru is the character who we actually know more about than anyone else. I think we know about like her relationship with her parents, and why she's like living alone in her deceased grandfather's house. Um,
I Yeah, actually, this week we learned a bit more about Rico when he have to take a picture of the wedding of his friend.
yeah.
Like and he actually I think like pursuing doing a professional photographer now.
Yeah, but the show doesn't really dig into that. Like, he has a
Mm.
conversation with the ponytail guy. They go out to eat, and he's like, "Can I borrow a camera?" You know, and
Yep.
people are advising him to just, you know, if it's something you want to do with your life, you just got to go out there and do it. We've been hearing that for a few weeks now, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I think I would prefer if the show were to. You remember in episode 5 when they brought in that classmate of Haru's who ends up working at the same gallery that Rikuo does?
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Like I wish he hadn't left, on a journey, or I wish that the show would introduce some new character who's working alongside Rikuo, so that they could have scenes together and there could be more, there would be a way in for the people telling the story to show us more of what Rikuo does as a photographer and as a, like an aspiring artist, I guess. Because right now we're not getting that much of that. Like we see that he borrows the camera, that he takes the pictures, but that feels a little bit shallow.
Yeah, I can understand what you say. I do think though that there is more side of him that I think the show will explore in the future. Just like Haru, even Haru, like we still doesn't know like how Haru got interested in Rico in the first place. That hasn't been explained yet.
I don't know,
So
man.
I
I'm
think
afraid. Go ahead.
yeah, I just think that there will be more of them, the more we get into more episodes.
I hope you're right, man. But I think there's a like a distinct possibility that that Haru just is attracted to him, and that's just the baseline. Like we already
We
got
have to
that.
take it for granted.
Yeah, we already got that weird flashback where they met like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
What I already forget. Like I keep forgetting actually what that whole scene was about. He drops something and she gives it back to him, or vice
All
versa.
right. I think it was supposed to be the other way. I think so. Maybe that it was she who dropping something, and he was
Yeah.
uh picking that up.
And ever
I don't
since
remember
then,
actually.
she's been in love.
Yeah.
I'm
And
afraid that
and
that's gonna be the.
and ever since then, she passed by him several times without him noticing. And yeah, and she been in love.
Yeah, that's just
She
gonna be.
no, it's not good.
Yeah, if that's the reality that we're supposed to accept at the end of all
Oh,
this, then that is lame.
yep. There was the one more thing that I want to mention. Do you realize there was a scene that the production was went a
The
bit
tie.
shabby?
You're talking about the
The
tie, right?
ties. I try to remember that scene. That scene where he talking to the ponytail guys. I think.
Oh, what about it?
The production got a bit of like the live work doesn't really feel right for me at that scene. It doesn't look very polished like the rest of the of the show.
I don't like the line work in general.
All right.
I didn't get that feeling from that scene, mostly because I was like on the edge of my seat, like is this ponytail camera guy gonna be the new character who we learn about? I want the show to be about him now. um, that didn't happen. But I thought when you were
I
talking about production, I thought you were going to mention that there were two different scenes where the color of his tie kept changing between blue and red,
oh, I didn't notice that. All right.
like twice.
Huh.
There was one near the beginning, and then there was the scene right after the wedding when he's walking outside with Shinako.
All right.
So I think some
Maybe
of those scenes
it's
got
like that.
mixed up.
Yep.
Someone who was
Or
doing color
maybe.
just put blue for a handful of scenes that didn't match together, and red for a handful of scenes that weren't together.
Yeah. Or maybe his tie have like two colors ties. Like if you switch back, it's like it's blue, and if you switch it in front, it's red.
That's got to be it. He owns only one tie, and it's a reversible one. That's blue on the front, red on the back.
Yep. All right. Still a pretty good show actually. I do feel like all these characters do feel like real people to me, which is like for me is like one of the best recommendation that I can give for the characters of an anime show.
Yeah, that's definitely important. I mean, because they're cartoons, so they need to you need to at least feel that they're real, or that they could be,
Hmm.
because otherwise there's nothing for you.
Yep.
I'm hoping we get. I don't know. I want to
More
learn
side
more.
characters.
Yeah, well, yes, to be honest, but I want to learn more about the characters. Like, if it's just going to be about their relationships going forward, then I don't feel like there's a strong enough
I
base for that.
I do think that I do think that there gonna be a lot more romance. Like the whole premise of the show is about romance.
Yeah,
So you can't really get away with that.
I'm a little afraid of how the show is going to develop from this point.
Yep. I
But
hope it doesn't go to melodramatic. But other than that, I think like for now, like after 7 episodes, it still walk a very fine line between exploring the personality and their struggles of the characters, and like not overly being too melodramatic for the romance.
It's okay. It's doing its job. We are getting some characters hugging other ones. The former crushes of their dead older brothers. We're getting some of that happening in the street at night. That. What are you doing, man?
Yep.
Like, just calm down. There's two cute girls who you're always having lunch with at your art school.
And a dude as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them is probably single. Just, Shinako is obviously not reciprocating. Just get over your childhood hang up. Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying this, and that's obviously like very difficult to do, because
Yep.
everything that he feels for her is like tied up in the memory of his brother's passing. So
and and I think that's the thing as well, because he never see Shinako as like a for who she is. It's more like she think of Shinako as like some kind of like some kind of angel, like some kind of muse.
yeah.
So it's not even realistic.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but I wish that in order to illustrate the gap between how he sees Shinako and how she really is, that we knew more about how she really is. Like, we know that she's a teacher,
Mhm.
but we don't, like, almost every like facet of her character or aspect that has been added on is related to you. The dead brother. I just want to,
Yep.
more. I want to see more of her time in college. I think that would be a really good thing for the show, is to, like, perhaps when she and Rikuo are talking in the next episode in their apartment or whatever, we can learn more about like the kind of people they were in college, via flashbacks or just dialogue as they're talking and drinking,
Yep.
which they probably will end up doing.
And maybe one of them will fall sick. They always get sick.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people getting sick and meals needing to be prepared for that person. Dude, I just miss episode 6 so much. I seriously wish that redheaded girl had her own show.
All right. I like last week. I think I mentioned that I thought that episode 6 was weak, like the weakest amongst like the 6 episode. But I take that back. I think that was
You'd better.
Really good.
This one was one of the weakest for me.
All right.
But I mean, I agree with everything you said. Like, it's got more going on with its cast of characters than most other shows can manage.
All right. Let's move on to the next one, shall we?
What's that?
Kakushigoto.
Okay.
It's another great episode of Kakushigoto for me.
I wouldn't use the word great. Like, I don't think it's
Right.
on the same level as the last one, because the last one
Mm-hmm.
was pretty poignant, I thought, in
Yep.
addition to being very funny.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some similarities between this one and the previous one. Like everything does seem to be linked together.
Yep. Yep.
It like revolving around the dog, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, the theme of generational like descendants. The dog comes
Yep.
from the third generation. I think they're golden retrievers. I think that's the kind of dog that is, or like a Labrador retriever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the whole idea of the dog coming from the pet that Hime's mom had as a child is like worked into all the stories this week, I
Yep.
think.
Yep. I actually regarding this episode just as good as the episode 6. And I like you said, I like all the ideas about like the all the descendants. So the dog that he may have right now is also the descendant of he may um
Mom.
mothers, moms, yeah. And the pictures that the grandfathers are drawing from his of his moms, I think pretty much tell us about like the profession of him. I think he's like the one of the famous like classic actors.
He's a painter.
Yeah, he's a painter,
But
like
I
classic
mean,
painter.
he did paint that picture, but I don't know if we have any reason to believe that he's actually like a painter by trade.
Right. I because I remember like on last episode when Goto doing uh the the signature, like meeting the fan,
Autograph
he
session.
stopped. Yeah, photograph session. Yeah, he stopped at one of these the painter. I think
Yes, he does
the
stop at a painting and looks up at it. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really weird. Like why he just like stopped all of a sudden and reflecting like how the manga career was already like very low fruit. So I think that it would make sense that like the ad that he see was from his father-in-law.
It would, and that's a good point that I hadn't thought of. However, just
Mm-hmm.
because like just because he stops and looks at that painting does not mean that it's his father-in-law's.
Yeah, that's
Like
true. That's
just
true.
he could just be struck by the painting and be making like a mental connection between seeing this work of art and
Yep.
like thinking of his father-in-law who also paints. Like
Yep.
I don't but
That
yeah, I mean that's
that the
interesting.
Yeah, that the makes sense though. That to why his father-in-law was just against his daughter marrying a mangaka.
Yeah, well like an artist of a lower caliber.
Yeah, that's right. And I also like the fact that like he left the piano behind. Like he sent that as a gift for Hime, and to say that Hime moms were uh, used to very good at playing piano, and Hime seem to possess the same things, like the same love of piano. I think that was really good from that was like thematically connect.
Yeah, I suppose that I mean he's rolling around in a limo all the time.
Yep.
A
Mm-hmm,
chauffeur is
mm-hmm,
taking him everywhere. So the family obviously comes from money. Um,
mm-hmm.
or at least that's what we're supposed to assume. So it kind of makes sense, like the idea of a woman being like perhaps like of high birth, like
Mm-hmm.
from an important family. She
Mm-hmm.
might have been like instructed in various arts like painting, music,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dance, whatever, since from a young age. And the piano, I mean, you use the word gift, and it is a gift, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's also the grandfather trying to like exert some amount of control over his granddaughter's life, um,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
even though he's not really a part of it because he never even emerges from his limo. He's only meeting with Goto every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
in order to, pass on messages about like you better do this and that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
here's the dog, you know, and oh, by the way, here's the piano. Get her some lessons.
Yep.
So there's
Let them
I
know because
go ahead.
yeah, because the thing is for the dog anyway, because he may has always wanted to have a dog. So yeah, so it's just like he replies that to her, you know. He just send back her wish.
Yeah, but I wonder if he like, does he have the house bugged, like with microphones, so he knows that she wants a dog?
Well, could be, you know.
Maybe that's what he does all day. He sits in the back of the limo with like with headphones on, listening to a live feed of what she's
um,
talking about.
I don't know if you have watched that movie. There was a movie about that. There is a guy who sit in limbo and you know like he control everything like the world around him inside the limbo. Um, that's the main guy was starred by Robert Pattinson.
I don't no, I'm not familiar with that film.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Um,
a trope that probably exists because if you remember in the second
that
season of Agretsuko,
that's true.
there's a similar thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, true.
The
Yes.
guy
Yep.
that Retsuko
Mm-hmm.
dates for a little bit, he
Mm-hmm.
is driven around by like his AI. He's supposed to be like
Mm-hmm.
an Elon Musk type character, and he's always in the back of his limo,
Yep.
like on his laptop,
Mm-hmm.
buying and selling like stocks and like I don't know, developing
Yep.
future tech
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
Yep.
Anyway,
That's, you're right.
that's kind of a trope, and it works because like you associate limos with status and wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and also kind of like
And
isolation and
respect.
yeah.
Yep. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So here's a question: why does Goto wear that ridiculous Adidas jacket that goes almost all the way to his knees in public?
I have no idea. Like I think it's just like the way that the mangaka want to have fun with, you know, like he Goto tried to think something serious, so he want to make fun of that. I have no idea why. It look
I mean, it looks like he's about to flash somebody. It looks like he's about to
I
open up the
wouldn't
coat and
say
he's wearing nothing underneath.
I wouldn't say that he look cool, but he look kind of impressive anyway.
No, I think he looks like a sex offender.
Who comes? He wears a pan inside. We can see he wear a pan inside. Why do you think that he is sex offenders?
What do you mean we can see he wears a pan inside?
All right, I got the pictures right here, and yes, he got some pan inside.
What do you mean by pan? I don't get it.
All right. Oh, is this supposed to be underwear?
What? We can't see what he's
All right,
wearing
hold on.
underneath.
We do actually because like the whole thing that split into two. I just send you the picture right now. Hopefully you can see it.
Okay, I'm now. Oh, what's this? I'm.
Web P4. Can you?
Hold on. Give me a second. Oh yes, pants. You were trying to say pants.
Oh
You
yes.
can't just
Yep.
just say pan. that doesn't,
All right. Yep.
that doesn't help me out.
Pants.
Yes, I do see now. When he's sitting down and his legs are spread out, we do see that he's wearing shorts underneath, green shorts. But when he's standing up, you cannot see what he's wearing underneath his really creepy, long-sleeved, ridiculous jacket that goes practically down to his ankles, and it's really
Well,
gross. And especially the
Ye-
scene where he's thinking about like the the fact that dogs will like bring Hime's classmates over to him and they might find out that he draws manga, like
Yep.
the idea of elementary
Uh-huh.
school girls coming up to him while he's wearing that jacket, like ugh, that's gross.
All
Because we were
right.
talking about
I
tropes before, like the idea of a really powerful guy in the back of a limo
Yep.
There's also a trope of people who wear jackets that are that long. They might not be wearing anything underneath.
All right. Yeah, I think it rubbed us in the wrong way. That one. That one.
Well, it did for me
Fashion
anyway.
fashion that he has.
I thought that was just weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well. All right. What other thing that we have in this episode?
I don't know.
The dog.
I remember very clearly the scene when Hime is walking home from school, and she
Yep.
overhears two women talking about like needing a mother at home to take care of a dog,
Mm-hmm.
and she's saddened by that, and she stops and listens to them, and then her shoulders kind of slump, and she continues on her way. She gets
Yep.
home and she's like, "Oh no, it's okay, Daddy. We don't need a dog. We can't take care of it if it's just the two of us, because that plays into her whatever sense of like loneliness or incompleteness she already
Yep.
feels not having a mom at home when maybe a lot of her friends at school do.
Yeah, I really love that scenes.
Yeah.
For me, it tell me a lot about he may maybe insecurity, like because he doesn't have a mom. And she doesn't want to hurt uh her father. I mean by by showing that they don't have a mom or the mother figures, so she trying to just ask for not having a dog. So
Right.
I think that say a lot about her, her mindset.
Yeah. Well, she's putting on a brave face,
Mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm,
and denying what she wants in that scene, which is a dog, in
yep.
order to she out of consideration for her father. So she's like 10 years old at this point, I think, even though it seems to me that she's illustrated as younger, but
Mm-hmm,
she's supposed to be 10, and she's at an age now where she can be like considerate of other people's feelings, because kids don't develop that ability until what, like 7 or around age 7, I think. they
mm-hmm,
they start to understand that other people like have their own feelings and thoughts.
mm-hmm.
um but yeah, she's trying to be brave, and I mean that made me realize, because multiple times in this episode, she says, what do you say in Japan when someone comes home? Is it okairi nasai?
Yeah, welcome back,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yep.
um every time she
Tadaima.
says
Tadaima is like the person
that's I'm
come
home.
back home. Yeah, I'm home.
Yeah.
And then yeah, something along that
Okairi.
you just said. Yeah, okay.
So
Yep.
she every time she says that, really, it's an act of bravery, um,
Mm.
because she's alone, or maybe she's with Nadila, the housekeeper, or whomever. The model girl actually shows up in this episode too, like giving her piano lessons for just a brief
Mm.
scene. The
Mm.
idol girl,
Yeah,
I should
yeah,
say.
yeah, and Mario,
Who?
the 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 queer guy who rented Koto his suit. His name is
Oh
Mario.
yes, that's
Her
right. That's right.
her name is Mario.
Yeah,
I don't
her.
even know the gender.
Well, I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, that's right. I forgot that person's name was Mario. Um, well, I don't even remember what I was saying now, because now I'm just picturing the album cover of like death metal that he was teaching her a song from, which I thought
Yeah.
was interesting. Like
Yeah,
it could
that
have
was
been a very
interesting.
stereotypical gay image. They could have gone that route when they were deciding what type of music that they were teaching her. But instead, they used like a death metal looking album cover. It's pretty
Yep.
funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what were we saying?
Yeah, you were talking about yeah, she learned to play piano with the idol girls.
Oh yeah, well that was just a. I mean, what I guess I would say is that they're, Kakushigoto, it devolves into like characters kind of going crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and like, being wacky and weird from time to time, but there is a strong undercurrent that the show has going on
Mm-hmm.
about the characters, like, their histories and their emotional lives and the circumstances that they're in, which are difficult without the mother around. And even last week we got a little bit into Goto's head about like his mindset about his own work.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always something else going on, and
Mm-hmm.
that's appreciated. Like the characters are being serviced, by these stories rather than just being vehicles for jokes.
Yep. Yep.
So
I
I
I do.
applaud that. Like that's what I like to see.
Yep. I do think that the last two episodes have a less random joke, and or maybe because like on the joke and gags in the last two episodes were more focused. It was more, like to the point. That I feel like it's not entirely gag based show right now, but like all these gag working towards something, towards some the underlying message. So and I think that's it is like a right step in the right direction.
Agreed.
All right. Anything more you want to say about Kakushigoto?
I mean, there's the very last scene where it's the flash forward, and Ichiko Sensei,
Yep.
the
Mhm.
PE teacher, shows up, but we don't. She says, "I have good news and bad news," and we like. I'm
Yeah.
not sure there's anything to say about
Uh,
that.
I have one thing to say. She looked gorgeous.
She looks weird. What
Why
was that
weird?
weird? What was that
Because
white streak in her hair?
oh, there was a white streak in her hair. All right, maybe she's just getting old.
I mean, she's not. She can't be that old, right? She's like a really young thing, in these episodes. She's
Yeah,
probably in her
well,
early 20s. So in this future, she's like in her late 20s. Uh,
all right. Let's
I just
see.
don't get what that was supposed to be. The thing that was in her hair. I mean, the best girl is Nadila-san.
Uh,
Let's be real.
yeah, well, I agree. I actually like the idol girl as well. So and he may. So that's a lot of girl I have to choose from.
Okay.
All right,
No,
let's
Nadila-san all the way. I love the braid that she wears her hair in. I love that.
all right, let's move on to Kaguya-sama.
Okay. Thought this episode was all right.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. It's not like the best Kaguya-sama episodes that like the best one, but it's still heartwarming. It's like the more heartwarming that we've seen so far this season, I think.
You think so? Okay. I mean, maybe because it's about like the members of the student council going out of their way to help someone, and it's even someone who they're
Yep,
supposed to be
yep,
set against.
yep.
But
And I think I just feel for the character Lino, because the way that like she cannot talk in like she can't do the public um
speaking,
speech is relatable to me, and the way that like we see another side of her, this and I love the way that her friend just sum up that because she's serious doesn't mean that she's strong, and I love about that. I think it's pretty much some of her characters.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing that I appreciated was that we got the look into her home life a little bit, starting
Mm-hmm.
the second part of that like initial two-parter, which was all about the lead up to the debate or the election
Yep.
speeches.
Mm-hmm.
We see her and her friend at home, and she talks about how her one parent is a judge, one parent is a doctor, and they're never home.
They're never at
You know,
home.
yeah,
Yep.
and so that's where
Mhm.
her sense of justice comes from. That's why she wants people to follow the rules, because her parents have to. Their job in society is to correct for people who do not follow the rules.
Mhm.
One of them is in charge of assessing like criminal cases. One of them is in charge of like distributing vaccines in a hot spot, they say. I mean, that honestly reminded me kind of the current situation, uh,
Yeah.
that we're living in right now with the whole COVID thing going on. Like her mom is out there on the front lines distributing vaccines, and like
Mm.
there's sickness and there's crime in the world, and that's why her parents are never home. That's why she doesn't get to see them, and so I think that's where her, like, in a weird way, that's where her idea that everyone should shave their head comes from. Like she's obsessed with like Law and Order.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
and so the shaved head thing being like kind of the idea that the debate revolves around, while it's very weird, it is, you can draw a link between the two things, I
Yep.
guess.
And I can say that I love Ishigami in this episode as well. The way
Okay.
that
Yeah,
yep.
explain
Go ahead.
why, because I didn't understand why he wanted to beat her so badly at the start and then changed his mind later.
I do think that he still want I still think that he do want Shirogane to beat her badly. Ishigami, so he just want to do it along the way. He just want like to crush Lino Dream, so that she never want to like to have to go through all that again. Go through all the he illuminate who eliminated by
Humiliation.
yeah yep, that's right, by the other people, because they just don't see that Lino trying her best. They just know the Lino that like was shying and just screw up in her election speech.
I
It
don't know.
doesn't help, right, though.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't
it
I
doesn't
don't
really help.
understand that as being his mentality. Like he wants to really like bury her at the start. Um
Yep.
and then when he sees how pitiful she is, he like changes his mind.
No, no,
It seemed that way to me.
Ishigami, right? Because I from what I understand, that Ishigami know that Lino gonna mess up
Yeah, he
in
does.
the in the speech. So he wanted Shirogane to like to do the merciless killing, basically just put an end to it. So Lino like have no hope of running the president, so again in the future. So that's gonna be like her last humiliation. You
I
know,
mean, I
I think
I understand that line
yeah.
of thinking, but
Mm,
I don't think it's very clear that that's his motive, because he
mm,
says at like near the start, he has,
mm,
she's really gung ho about everyone following the rules, and
mm,
people don't appreciate that about her, and he says like even I have my reasons, not to like her very much.
mm,
I like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get the sense from the way that he was
I
talking about her at the start, where he wants to like
or
beat her in a landslide, that he's really
yeah.
like looking out for her best interest. It seems as though after she gets up on stage and starts to, like fumble her words, then he says, "I really hate it." Like specifically, he says, "I hate it when people are making fun of someone who's trying their best." And he had
Yeah.
to have known that was going to be what happened. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I just think like at the end, I will say that Ishigami maybe have a feeling for Lino, so he wanted to that's the way he wanted to protect Lino.
No, he doesn't like
I
her. This was established not just in this episode, but in like I don't know if it was the previous one or two episodes ago. I think it was 2 episodes ago, where they first meet her, or
Yeah.
Shirogane first meets her, and
Mm-hmm.
Ishigami, like they both get really hyped up on defeating her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think the relationship between the two of them is clear enough to draw any of these conclusions.
Yeah.
We know that
That's
they're in
true.
the same class. We know that they don't like each other very much, but there needs to be more there, I think. And I mean, now we have that opportunity because by the end of this episode, she joins the student council.
Mm.
So I mean,
I
I think Ino comes out of this story looking a lot better than
Yep.
Ishigami
Well,
or whomever.
so if I can like rate my enjoyment like in this episode, I will say that um the first segment when they focus on Lino um
Her name's her name's
insec
her name's Ino.
is that like double I?
Yeah, double I. The first one looks like a lowercase L, but it's actually an uppercase I.
All right, so Ino.
Yeah.
So the yeah, so the first segment when they focus on Ino's, like insecure, like the gap between her, like her strictness and her uh and her shyness,
Yeah.
uh, just to say that, was really good. And then when it come to Shirogane trying to save her by like doing the debate thing, was so right. I think it's like it's heartwarming the way it's a bit overly sweet out for me. And then we have like the last segment where like he basically just tell Kaguya that like you want to be back in the team again. It just did nothing to me basically.
Oh, okay. I
I
mean,
know that we all know that that's gonna happen, and like I don't feel that it's uh they properly gain the feeling that like Shirogan is truly trust Kaguya, and that stuff we all know that before.
right. Yeah, that's true. I appreciate the last section,
All right.
but I also did not have like a response to it really while I was watching it. I was When he said, "I want you to be my vice president again," I was like, "Duh."
Yeah,
He's the
true.
main character, bro. Um, but the thing that I think we were supposed to take away from that, and I wish that the show had focused on it a little more, was Kaguya did a lot of meddling and like interference
Yep.
in the election process in order to get him elected again. And I wish that, I mean, the show only briefly alluded to it in the previous episode, the scene where she's like having tea with Hongo, the third candidate who drops out of the race.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's the reason there were only two people to give speeches, is because the third person
Drop house.
dropped out after Kaguya like essentially scared him into dropping out.
All right.
And the way that she talks to Hayasaka before Shirogane comes into the room, she reveals that she did a lot of other, like she did vote garnering and went around to different clubs and tried to get their support, and like went as far as like blackmailing some people. And
Mm-hmm.
she really, I mean, that's kind of, obviously that's not,
Extreme.
yeah, that's extreme. It's not super ethical of her to do that, but it proves that she was really desperate for him to
Yep.
win so that they could maintain their closeness, because she feels as though if he's not elected president again, then they're going to drift apart. And I mean, that theory is kind of proven by the span of time in which they didn't talk at all. Like after the student council had been dissolved, and between that time and the debates, they didn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
So she was afraid that he would just drift away from her if she didn't get him elected. And so, having done all that, she feels as though he's kind of betrayed her by helping, like by getting up there on stage and helping
Mm-hmm.
Eno communicate what it was she
Yep.
wanted to say. She she feels like he's just being kind in general, and that any kindness he shows to her is not, there's nothing special about it.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I do really appreciate the fact that the show is, it keeps going back to that well of insecurity that she has, and it's all rooted in her very kind of sterile upbringing, which was all about like
Mm-hmm.
getting one over on people, like crushing your enemies. It wasn't about like love or I don't know, like feeling or tenderness or anything like that. It was she doesn't have that in her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean I think all that tracks really well with their characters and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're right that I mean he's offered the way that the button that they put on that scene is that he offers her the vice president job, uh,
Yep.
and it's as a way of proving that he still values her, and I mean of course he does, and of course she's going to get it. Like I don't know.
Yep. It just like, yeah, it's just so obvious. Let's say that. So like you said, I like everything leading up to that. But it's just like the resolution where that he just come into her room. Even I don't know if he even asked for how she doing. At the time he just like sit there and ask her to be vice president, and then he left.
I don't remember the exact course of the conversation in terms of like, are you okay? I don't.
Yeah.
Why would she like fainted or something, right? During the debate, that's what Chica says. Because she's
She
at one
fainted.
point, Chica's
Well,
carrying her on her back.
yeah. I love that scene though. So Hayashaka was holding her back, talking to her, and then Chika just appeared, and then Hayashaka had to like run.
Yeah.
So she pushed she put Kaguya like just dropping by herself.
Oh,
I
that's
really love
right.
that
That's
scene.
how she got injured.
Yep.
Not
I love
because
that
she
scene.
fainted. Uh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty funny.
Yep.
But
Oops.
yeah, she was always gonna become vice president. I mean, I think the scene might have worked a lot better if there had been a chapter beforehand, like in the previous episode or something, dedicated to the lengths that she was going to get Shirogane elected. Like if we could have seen some of the blackmail, if we could have seen some of
I
that from Kaguya, then
Yeah.
like she could have been nervous about Shirogane accepting her after like some of the dirty tactics that she used. I think that might have added a different dimension to that scene.
Mhm. I think I would love to see that. I would love to see like the whole segment dedicated to that.
Yeah. It would have given more more context to the election arc, like how what everyone is doing in the lead up to the debates, the speeches.
And I think it's like funny and ridiculous as heck. Like it. I think the second season have been lacking so far is Kaguya, evilness. I think like her swift decision to like to manipulate everything that going her way. We've been missing that in this season. So I would love to see more. If they have the opportunity to do so, like if she blackmail someone to vote for Shirogane.
Yeah, I mean we hear from her that's what she did, that she was like kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes, but we didn't get to see it. So yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I think this season is leaning more on the aspect of her character that's kind of fragile
Aloofness. Yep.
and and
Fragile
kind
is good word.
yeah, and like what's like I can't think of a word right now. I don't know why it's
Well,
eluding me, but
she
like the
basically
fact that
just
she's really
losing her
into
mind.
she's into Shirogane, but is like occasionally she like kind of like breaks down into, oh my god, like he's
Yep.
gonna hate me. Oh no, it's
Yep.
and I would rather see a Kaguya who is like a little bit of a puppet master and is in control.
Yep.
That's what I like about her character, among other things. And but I think a lot of other people really like to see her just acting like a baby, or whatever, and that kind of makes me uncomfortable, honestly. Like, I don't, in addition to it being kind of like turning a female character into somebody who's helpless,
Uh,
like, in addition to that, that's just not who she is. Like,
yep.
she's really smart and like devious.
Yep. And she only act that way to Shirogane, so it's not really her personality.
Yeah.
Like acting or shiny and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But it at least it only pops up every once in a while.
Yep. All right, to the main show
Oh God.
of this week.
Okay, so one thing I'll say is that I did not rewatch episode 1. I did see it.
Yep. Yep.
I have seen it, but I did not rewatch it. So my memory of it is quite hazy. There were references in episodes 2 through 7 about her getting a bump on the head.
Right.
And what I
do you-
gleaned. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you remember that scene? Because I can explain. I can explain the whole thing again. It's not really that much to explain either.
Well, how does she get hit on the head? What
She
hits her?
just sidestep. So she just step on something on the she just step on something, I think, and then she just like hit her head into the crowd, and then like
She just
all
trips
the
and falls?
yeah, and then all the flashback come towards her that she was but she was in another life. She was a high school student, and then we don't even know why she get died. I don't remember if she got mentioned that she got hit by the car then. By then,
Yes. We do learn in episode, which one is it?
just the last one, just episode 7.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right, because Sophia has a dream from Achan's point of view. Achan being Katarina's friend in her previous life, like in the real world. Yeah, and so Sophia experiences like Achan's like emotions and feelings about her dying. Yeah, and she does say that she got hit by a car. Dude, there was actually a scene where she was like, where the two of them are walking together down some street, and then Katarina's like, "Oh, I'm going this way, bye," and she starts to like kind of skip across the road. I don't know if you remember this, but I thought the car was going to come by in that moment and hit her
Yeah, true.
when she was like
Maybe-
slowly
maybe no,
making her way
because-
across the road.
Because maybe the next day she was already died. So maybe that was the scene. Not really sure. Because the next day that her best friend got the news that she already dead.
Oh, I mean, in the next scene, that's what happens, because like you see Katarina, or whatever her name is in the real world, like walking away, like leaving across the street. So she's kind of crossing a threshold, in terms of the direction of that scene, she's leaving Achan behind. And then in the next scene, we learn, that she's passed away. I don't know if it's the next day necessarily, but yeah, it's shortly thereafter, I suppose.
Yep.
And that's
So,
sad. Like, honestly, that scene, like Sophia having that dream about Achan and feeling what she felt, like from her point of view, and us learning about a little bit about Katarina's history in the real world. That was one of the only moments in any of these episodes where I felt a genuine connection between the characters.
All right. I think I get your point. How about like the first few episodes where they were young, and then she just getting basically a harem of both boys and girls falling in love with her.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any genuine chemistry between them at all?
I do not. No.
All right. Yep.
That was a constant theme throughout all these episodes that I watched. And I mean, I watched them all back to back yesterday, so I'm sure that contributed to my fatigue. But this show is all about how great Katarina is. Like, everyone wants to be, with her. All the guys think that she's beautiful, and they're all competing for her affection. Even I mean, it's not as though they're like, at each other's throats or anything, but it's clear that they're all interested in her, and she's so
Well,
beautiful and all that. And all the
actually, like
girls
two
think
of
that she's
them,
wonderful. What?
actually, like two of them are at each other's throat every time when it's whenever like Katarina concerns.
Well, you're talking about Keith and
That
Giordo, right?
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, but like, at least it's not devolved into full-on relationship drama. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll get there. I mean, I think the show's supposed to be a comedy, but I don't know. Like, it never strikes me as particularly funny.
All right. Yep.
Katarina has like overblown reactions to stuff, and like they just seem to be leaning on her general like cuteness and
Aloofness
ditziness,
as well.
I guess. Yeah, and
Yeah.
rather than like like scripting humorous lines or like inventing comedic situations, it's just, oh my God, Katarina is so cute. Just look at how cute she is and how much everyone loves her. That's the general sense that I
All
got from
right.
this show.
I would say that I really, really enjoyed the first three episodes of the show where Katarina is still, where all the characters were still at their child forms, because I see that like even like all the situation where Katarina like earn the affection from the other is well earned for me. The last two episodes though was like a step down in like in writing for me. The episode 6 was really like it might work at the OVA more than like an actual episodes. It's like just like a short skit of like of her activity during the break, the
Yeah. Oh,
school break. And
Episode 6 was dog shit for sure. It was
I
very,
wouldn't
very
go
bad.
too far to say that. Yeah, but it wasn't it wasn't good. It's like OVA level of of an episode. Episode 7. Oh, I actually think that because I can understand a bit of what you say, that like the whole show is about like how great Katarina is. That I get a bit of a sense of that as well. I also love her, by the way, but I do think that her likability overshine every other's characters. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't feel like.
go ahead.
Yeah, go. I just finished my laptop. I just don't feel like any other characters have something more to them. Uh, Beside like for falling head over heels for Katarina and some of their significant trait.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%, and I think that's the killing blow for me where the show is concerned, is that the characters are so shallow. They
Mhm.
all of them are defined by the relationship to the central character, and there's just nothing else there.
And especially when it comes to
All
Maria,
of them.
like she's supposed to be the main heroine, so I actually expect more from her. I actually think that like the section where we see of Mary this week should have been to Maria, the main girl, the main heroine in
You
the
mean that
original. In
what
the
we saw of
original game.
Katarina should have been? Wait,
No,
what?
no. What we see of Mary's dreams.
It's Sophia who has the dream.
Oh, sorry. So, what we see of Sophia should have been to Maria, the main heroine of the original show.
So
Of
yeah,
the
I get what
original
you're
game.
saying. You wanted you wanted Maria to be the one having the dream. Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, I think the whole point of this show is like to send up otome tropes to kind of mock them a little bit.
Yep.
And Maria is supposed to be like a cardboard cutout because the heroines in otome games are just like blank slates, so that the girls playing them can imagine that they're in her shoes. and then romance all the guys. Like, you know, and it's the same. It's when you reverse the genders, it's the same thing. Like there's a bunch of harem shows where the guy is just like a soggy,
Potato Kun.
like a soggy piece of
Yep.
cardboard, and
Right.
potato kun.
Um,
Yeah, so that's why Maria is like so uninteresting. But the problem is that all the characters are like that for me. I like all the guys are they just love Katarina and okay, okay. Remember when I said episode 6 was dog shit?
yep.
So I made a list of every instance in that episode of the characters like saying that Katarina is so great. So I'm just gonna run them down like pretty quickly.
All right. Is just one question. Is there every one of them say that in that episodes?
I don't know. I'm not sure
Alright,
if everyone does.
Let run them down.
Okay. The very first one is the maid at Lady Kleiss's
Oh,
estate coming into the
Yep.
room and talking about how the maids and the gardeners, everyone has opened up thanks to Katarina.
Yep.
She's really just transformed the lives of everyone in their household. Then we get Keith. He doesn't get nightmares anymore because Katarina is around to comfort him. He used to get nightmares as a kid, but he doesn't anymore, not since he met her, because she's so wonderful. Then there's a boat ride. They're gonna row. Remember, they have a competition to like row across the lake in the rowboats, and everyone wants to. Every character. So you asked, does every character think Katarina's so great?
Yep.
Yes,
Want a
every
piece of her.
character expresses interest in being, her partner in the boat race. Then they have a picnic when they reach the opposite shore. And all the boys who are eating together are talking about how, they never used to smile like that before Katarina came into their lives. Like Nicole and Alan, I think, are the two characters who are like,
Yeah.
you never used to express, this level of happiness and like contentment with your life before Katarina came into the world. Like, oh my God. And then there's
Can you
also
finish?
weird comments about Katarina like leaving herself defenseless. I don't know if you remember this, but she falls asleep in a carriage on the way home. And Keith, I think, is the one who thinks, you should really have more consideration for the people who are around you. Like, shut the fuck up. How about you stop perving on her instead? Then the scene where there's like a duck after the picnic, the scene where there's a duck that she starts to chase because it steals her bread or her sandwich or something. So she pulls up her dress. So it's like showing her calves. We're not even talking knee height. We're talking just a few inches above the ground. She hikes it up and like starts to run after the duck. And all the boys are like, gosh, like have some more consideration for the people around you. Don't expose yourself like that. What's going on? It was so badly written.
All right, we're talking about I think the 17 or 18,000s century of like a very conservative time that they live in, basically.
Okay, sure. No, she's she's inside a video game which was made in like 2000 and the 2010s.
Right. All right. I can see all the criticism, and I think the show have been trying to materialize, like to just glamour her a bit too much. I do think though the next step they should do is just like put her out of the equation. Like maybe she got kidnapped, maybe she having something. And then all these guys have to, reassess their feeling with her, and hopefully, we see more of the character development from them.
Well, in the very next episode, we see that she goes missing in the dungeon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to what you just said, and we don't learn anything new about them. We just learn that they want to rescue her because she's the main character.
We just learned that they can manipulate the wind in order to see her say mushroom.
Yeah. Dude, as ridiculous as that was, I actually appreciated that moment because it was at least inventive. Everything else in that episode about the ruins that they were investigating was entirely derivative. If you think about it, like pressing a brick so that the boulder comes rolling down the hallway, that's just Indiana Jones. Like arrows flying out of the walls and whatever else. Like it was there was no imagination.
We all see that before. Yeah, that's right.
And
That's true.
my God, I'll tell you the moment that enraged me was, okay,
All right.
so these characters are all going to magic school, right? They've been studying for probably months at this point in order to control their magic. We know that there's a magic system in this world that revolves around the 5 elements.
Mm-hmm.
So it should, because that's what these characters are going to school for, it should be obvious that they can use their elemental powers to overcome obstacles, right? Like that wouldn't even require a second thought. If they see a block of ice impeding their path, for example, being kids at a magic school in a world based on magic, they would just be like, oh, I'll just melt that real quick with my fire. But instead, here's what happens. They come across the block of ice. Oh, a block of ice. Oh, man, I guess we can't go any farther. Man, I really wanted to keep going down this hallway, but this block of ice is in our way. What are we going to do about this? Wait. This must be a test to see whether we can get past this block of ice. Everyone, stand back while I use my fire magic. Hi-ya! You did it! You melted the ice block. Now we can continue down this hallway.
Oh no! We have to come quick before the ice, the block of ice, like thicken again. So quick!
Yeah, hurry!
Come through it.
Down the hall.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Yeah.
There's just like, what's the
God.
point of them
My
being at the
stomach
magic
hurts.
school? That's actually something I don't really understand. Why does it have to be a magic school? Because it's not put to any use.
I think it's supposed to be a magic school.
Well, it is. That's
But-
what they're going to like.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why that's necessary. Like, most of the episodes have nothing to do with it. When they actually try to implement it in stories like this one, it just ends up being like, I've really felt insulted watching that scene. Like if I'm somebody who, I'm not invested in the show whatsoever, but if I were, I would be like, what are they doing? Like, this is a magic. These characters are learning magic. Why? I don't know, dude. I was so mad.
Yep. Well, I can see that. I can see that.
I'm sure you heard it in my voice.
Yep. It's loud and clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, you say
I
something.
don't know, like I don't even know what to say. I do think that all right. What happened after the first 3 episodes? They grow up. They go into that school, and that's the first time where Katarina meet Mary Hunt. Oh
Yes.
no, sorry, Maria Campo, Maria, the main heroine. So
Yeah, that's where she meets her,
yeah. So the episode 4 and 5 have been focused on like her relationship with Maria, and and I'm not that satisfied with Maria character, like I said. But there was like one characters that I think he might be a red flag. Not really sure what he will function in the future though.
Who is
I'm
this?
interested to see how he's the president of the school. He have red hair. He isn't
Yeah.
like one of the 4 main boys in the original series, but he kind of amazing and perfect.
Like
Like
everyone
himself
else.
as well. like everyone else exactly. So I'm just wonder like what the show gonna do to him, like what his role gonna be about.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it. I guess, yeah, that is kind of interesting. Like that his character is remarked upon as being like so amazing and wonderful, and he just shows up every once in a while to be like to give advice or to be like a general cheerful presence in a scene. I mean, it could just be nothing. Like I don't know. Yeah, but he could be evil. Maybe there'll be some kind of twist where he's evil, and
Yeah,
all the other members of the student council have to like work together to defeat him or overthrow him or something.
I would love he be evil. I would hate it if he be like the one man love interest for Katarina.
Oh, there's no way, right? Like
I
we hardly see him. The show has done nothing with him.
Yeah, well, if you see like nine other characters have been fallen head over heels to Katarina, like why don't make one more guys, being the ultimate love interest for for Katarina.
I suppose that's
Like if
possible.
yeah, like if you have to choose between Kit and Guido, why not choose that guy? Who's
I
like
guess
in every way more perfect than these two guys.
if I were Katarina, and here's something I actually don't like. Katarina knows that she's in a video game, right? That's every time we see
Yep.
the council of Katarinas, like inside of her
Yep.
head.
Mhm.
Um, I don't understand why they are all trying to like escape. Why aren't they just using all of their power, like their mental energy or whatever, to try to get out of the game? Why aren't they trying to go back to real life?
Oh, kill herself.
I don't know. Like I don't know what the solution would be. I don't know how you get back to the real world, but they're spending all their time trying to avoid death in this game. But why aren't they trying to go back to
Mm,
the real world? And as
yeah,
a matter
well,
of
that's
fact, why are they so clueless about like the fact that Katarina getting close to the male characters is preventing Maria from getting close to them, so she's avoiding her doom flags. Like all the little miniature Katarinas in her head want to avoid these doom flags. That's all they ever talk about. But they don't seem to make the connection beforehand that if Katarina
yep.
gets close to the guys, she'll avoid the doom flag. It just plays out that way. Like Katarina just so happens to form the relationships with the male characters. And then the mini Katarinas inside her head that are part of this council are like, oh, huh, I guess we avoided the doom flag that way. Shouldn't it be the other way
Yep.
around? Shouldn't Katarina should be pursuing these guys in
Yep.
order to
Well, that
avoid her own death?
she pursuing this guy. All right, interesting.
Right?
So
Because
it
she
is.
wants to avoid the doom flags. So she doesn't want the guys to get close to Maria. If she doesn't want the guys to get close to Maria, she should be trying to snag them for herself to avoid her own
Ye,
death.
all right, I can see that. But again, Katarina is just like a cinnamon roll that everyone want to protect. She
Yeah,
doesn't
but
know everything. She doesn't have any that thought. She just want to plant to build her plans to try to make a fake snake. And that's it.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, even the gardens that she plants. The reason she does that is because she's afraid that she's going to be exiled, as in one of these doom flag roots.
Yep.
So she
Yep.
has
Yep.
to like level up her gardening skills so she can survive if she's exiled. But when it
Yep.
comes to the other doom flags where Maria, gets together with like Keith, for example, and as a result, Katerina dies or something, um, the best course of action for her to take if she really wants to survive would be, like stay close to Keith, don't let him get close to Maria. But instead, like that, she's just
Yeah.
oblivious and I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I don't get much out of the cinnamon roll type of thing. I want my characters to be complex. I want
Yep.
to sink my teeth into something, and for me, this show does not offer that something.
Yep. Even if we if we discuss into like the context of the game itself, Katarina route is actually just relevant in Trudeau and Keith um route. So like if Maria meet Alan or Nicole, it wouldn't it wouldn't have been affected her at all.
Um,
You you get what I mean,
I
right?
I do get what you mean.
Like
I'm just I
in the
don't think I agree. Hasn't
all
the show
right.
made it clear that there are like four different doom flags, one of each, like one assigned to all four of the guys?
Yes, but for Alan and Nico, it more having to do with Mary and Sophia. They are kind of the antagonists of that timeline
Okay.
rather than Katarina.
Um. Okay. I think I see what you're saying, but Katarina is the one who's trying to avoid the doom flags, like in each of the
That's
routes.
right. All right. So it just means that he tried to save Mary and Sophia as well.
No, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think
Well.
I think that she's at like if Mary gets close to Alan or if Sophia gets close or is it the other way around? I can't remember who all the girls are supposed to like because everyone just loves Katerina. That's another thing. Like Mary and Sophia, we
Yep.
could, and there actually is in a recent episode there was like Mary was kind of scheming to herself at a dance, like thinking to
Mm-hmm.
herself, "Oh, I can't let my true intentions be revealed, or I can't let such and such a character get close to another one." Uh, so
Mm-hmm.
there is some sort of story going on with her, but just in general, Mary and Sophia and everyone else, but those two are like they're more into Katerina than anything else. What is their story? I don't. It's not clear.
That's true.
They're just
Well, well, we actually see more backstory of Sophia now that like she used to be a best friend in another world of Katarina. Hopefully, we get more of that backstory or something more into these characters in relation to Katarina, because for now like all their affection to Katarina is just like really the same. They're just like the same level of affectionate, the same level of chemistry, of the same level of funness they have for Katarina. I don't like that at all.
I actually that's like how did she get that dream? Why what is the implication there? Why does Sophia have that dream?
Why? It's just like one of the time when you can recall your past life.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. Like just Katerina has entered this game. Does that mean that Achan is also dead and she is
All right.
also in this game?
Uh, yeah. I think that's imply that she dead somehow in the real world. So that's why she get into Sophia, but she doesn't remember about that past. She's just playing the role of Sophia right now, and sometimes in her dreams she could recall the life that they used to have.
So does that mean that do you think all the other characters are also
No,
um
I don't hope they go in that way, because that's gonna be like too repetitive. For Sophia only, it's alright. I don't want Nico to be turned out to be her father in real life, and Mary Hun gonna be her mother in real life. I don't like that. That's gonna be
yeah,
stupid.
that
It's
that
always
yeah
stupid.
that doesn't seem likely. I just I wonder why they picked Sophia. Like you said, it probably would
Yeah.
have been Maria would have been a better choice perhaps.
Yep.
Um
I just feel that it's random right now. But yeah, we will see like how they gonna use that sort of information. Is that gonna be like have any larger narration scheme?
well, it could also we have to take into account like the shadowy presence at the end of episode 7, like the
Oh,
who
true. Yep.
saved them from the abyss, with like wind magic and
Mm-hmm.
like just happened to drop the magic, just happened to arrange it so that the magic crystal was there on the ground next to
Yep.
Katerina, and like the shadow kind of like moves away down a corridor at the near the end of the episode. Um,
All right.
like
That
I think
that
I
for me.
think go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, you go ahead. I want to hear what you think.
I think that specter, like that spirit, is
Uh huh.
actually Achan. I think that's what's likely,
Interesting.
and that the reason Sophia had that dream is because it like possessed her.
Huh.
That
Interesting.
that's my guess. What do you think?
All right. because both Sophia and Nico have the I think they have like the wind attribute, so they can manipulate the wind. So that makes sense that it was Sophia's. Um, who does all that? For me though, my theory is gonna be that red hair guys
Okay. But oh, so you
who
think the red-haired guy like saved her? He
yeah
was
who
like
was behind the scheme and like maybe he. I don't even know what his real deal is, but he just like lurking behind the scenes and try to save Katarina in the most important moment.
okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And you know, it actually kind of makes sense because before they went into the ruins, he was there as when the instructor was giving the rules about what
Yep.
their task was. He was one of the second year students who was going to be like a guide or like an overseer of that task.
Mm.
So he was present before they all went into the ruins. So he was, yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Um,
Well, you're making sense as well. So
I don't know. I think I like yours better. Like the idea is that Sophia, Achan is somehow Sophia, and that's just like part of her character, like whether Achan is dead or whatever. And and the red haired guy is the spirit.
yep. So
That's
what I
probably
want to
why he
see.
hasn't had a lot of screen time or anything because like they
Yep.
can't reveal too much about him because he's going to be like a villain
Badass. Yep.
or whatever. Like he's just mysterious right now.
Yep. That's true. What I want to see from the show going forward is I want to see more of individuals for all these supporting characters because now they seem kind of the same to me. And I want to see that maybe Katarina just get out of the picture. So like everyone have been depending on her. Like she the one who make everyone happy, literally. So if put her out of the equation, we can see like how these people uh bounce back.
But you know, there's like
Um,
literally no chance of that, right?
hopefully like they make the whole act of it. That's what I hope. I don't want like just like an half of the episodes focus on her disappearing. I want the whole act of her yeah, getting dangerous.
But the whole show is geared around her being awesome, cute, beautiful, and
Yep.
wonderful, and everyone loving her. Like, there's only 5 episodes left.
Yep.
I don't really see
Yeah,
that
that's true.
changing.
Yep.
Um,
All right. One question for you. Do you do you still
no,
want to cover
no,
Hamefura?
no,
Nope.
no.
All right. We had to think another show to
I
to
already
fill
marked
that
it
spot in.
dropped. I've already marked it dropped on my anime list. Like, it's over.
All
Um,
right.
it's over,
Yep.
dude. But you let me
All
know
right.
whether the redheaded guy is actually the weird shadow
Yep.
spirit. Um,
Cool. I gonna do that.
this is not for me, dude. Like the characters are not there, so that's strike one. But you could bounce back from that. Like, if it's a comedy, if it's
Mm.
just straight up like gag after gag, if it's clever, if it's humorous, But I also don't get that from the show. It's all about Katarina's character and like the appeal that she has as a villainess who is being portrayed as a hero, a
Yeah.
heroine.
Well, the villainess who have a heart of gold.
Yeah. And so I think that in that way, it's just a riff on otome games. Like, oh, the villainess is actually good this time, and I think that part of the premise is what is like a big part of what you're supposed to appreciate about it. But for me, it is not connecting at all. So,
All right. Fair
uh,
enough. All right. So we're gonna think up another show we want to cover next time.
well, dude, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to watch like 8 episodes of something just to catch up,
Yep.
and I don't
Or
want
do
to
you want
watch
to do like
BNA.
some classic shows? Yep.
Well, maybe,
We
yeah.
will figure
We'll
out about
talk
that.
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. It's sad. It's sad though that like you just destroy. You just basically bad mouthing my one of my favorite show of the season.
I mean, I don't
But
think obviously I was being like critical of it and harsh and like mocking it, like the ice block
yep,
scene, the reenactment. But I don't think anything that I said was like inaccurate, really. I mean, the
yeah, well,
characterization in this show is quite shallow. That's just
yep.
you can
Well,
watch one episode and
I
immediately recognize that.
yep. I actually found that the first three episodes, the character characterization, it was pretty solid. It's just that when they become adult, they just like they doesn't really change.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Like even though so much time has passed in their lives, it doesn't feel as though they have really matured in
Yep,
that time. They're just older and hotter now, but they still
that's
feel like
right.
children.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, in
All right.
episode 3, like Sophia, though her being of high birth, but also having like the white eyes, the white hair and the red
Mm-hmm.
eyes, and like her feeling insecure about that, and making a real friend in Katerina. That was
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was kind of nice. That was a nice story.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know,
They don't.
we haven't learned anything about that since. Like
Yeah,
Sophia,
that is exactly right. Yep.
there's no follow up to that, like
Yep.
they just slapped a band-aid on it. A Katerina shaped band-aid is now has now fixed that problem forever and ever. Amen.
Yep. It just they just keep in the status quo for now. I want something to shake up, on
Yeah.
the relationship.
Yeah. All right.
All right. That conclude our podcast this week, and happy 100th podcast
Happy
for
100th
us.
birthday.
Wow, that's amazing actually. Like we go like 3 digits now.
Indeed. We'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, true. All right, so see you guys next week. This gonna be a bit prefer than the last few podcasts, but we
We don't
still
have
reaching like 96 minutes already.
yeah, no poon poon to talk about this time to
Yeah, true.
take us over the limit.
Oh man, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that's over.
We went over all these sadness and dark subject of Open Poon.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad it's over, but it was fun while it lasted. All right.
All right. See you guys next week.
Adios.